Like I said at the top, Ole Miss is favored against LSU. Will LSU's offense wake up? That's the first question we ask when previewing this game. We have two programs, two teams with intriguing dynamics. We could talk about Whit Weeks dating Lane Kiffin's daughter all we want, but let's actually talk about what's going to happen on Saturday, because this game has insanely big, just massive implications. Whatever adjective, I couldn't pick one in the moment. And that is primarily because LSU, if you have not watched a Brian Kelly press conference, it's a pressurized system right now. It is a program that is feeling the weight of expectations from the Bayou more than any other program across the country, arguably right there with like Penn State. Brian Kelly is feeling the heat, and he's at least showing it in terms of the results of being not good enough and wanting the respect of the reporters who ask the questions. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I implore you to go do your research on it, because Brian Kelly's been ripping into some reporters for the questions that they've been asking. Fair questions, probably poorly timed. And then on the other side, we have Ole Miss, a program coming off of a season that they were projected to go and make the college football playoff with Jackson Dart and all the guys that they got with an incredible transfer portal class, and disappointed. And you kind of left yourself looking at 2025 in a completely different lens, in just terms of, we don't know what we're going to get from Ole Miss. We know the offense is going to be fine, but we are due for regression on the defensive side of the ball. And is that good enough in the 12-team playoff era to get to the college football playoff? We don't know. We thought Austin Simmons was the guy. We have Trinidad Chambly from Ferris State University. Ferris State. Point that on a map and I'll give you a cookie. I'll give you $5 and a handshake. He has been balling out. He looked incredible against Tulane. They may have found their guy accidentally. I thought Austin Simmons was going to be the guy for them. Struggles a little bit. Injury happens. And with one man stepping up and playing well, you got to give it to the hot hand. And he's going to be the starting quarterback for Ole Miss. Now, we've talked about both sides, but we have to talk about the matchup at the end of the day. My number one question to the top of the show: what are we going to get from the LSU offense? Garrett Nussmeier still dealing with that injury. Who's going to step up in the wide receiver room? Is it going to be Caden Durham who's going to be able to be the force running the football? Once again, we're looking at a position with an LSU offense that is being highly reliant on Nussmeier magic. And with that comes also turnovers and problems with Garrett Nussmeier. So can they run the ball against a defense that is going to allow you to run the football? Caden Durham, biggest X factor in this game. Goes to the second point. What is the Ole Miss rushing defense going to be? Are they going to allow LSU to test those waters? They believe on their side of the coin that they really haven't had to be a ground and pound team up till this point. Very similar with Penn State and the explosives on the outside with their wide receivers. Are they going to be a team that can instantly click it on when they need to be that? Can they change their identity on a dime? That's to be seen. I think of the red zone efficiency between these two programs. We have Ole Miss, who has gone to the red zone 25 times. They've scored 24 of them, while LSU's gotten there 17 times and scored on 14. I think those are real dynamic type of metrics when we're talking about an Ole Miss program whose biggest test may have been Tulane, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh, they played Kentucky, didn't they? LSU, a team that's played a Clemson program that at this point looks like this year's Florida State. And if you disagree with me, I promise you, go check out the channel. We have a video on that. But in terms of an actual prediction, what do we think about this game? We have all the ingredients in front of us. We have an Ole Miss program at home, new quarterback, new kid on the street that looks like he could be a potential Heisman contender if he plays well enough in this game. You have Garrett Nussmeier in this LSU program with all this pressure to make a college football playoff run. This is the year. You have a quarterback wearing the number 18 for the first time in over 20 years. What are you going to get from them on Saturday? These games have been fireworks every single time they've played on the football field. And when we're talking about a game script, I really do lean towards LSU, surprisingly. I've seen a lot of people lean into the Ole Miss hype, and I understand that. Lane Kiffin's going to throw the kitchen sink. He's going to test Blake Baker, but I think Blake Baker is going to be able to get that win against the matchup of a Lane Kiffin offense. These are two young quarterbacks that Ole Miss has been putting out there with Austin Simmons and Chambly. I think they're going to show that in this game. Blake Baker's going to throw enough at them with guys like Perkins, Weeks. Their secondary is increasingly improved and seems to be getting every single weekend. I trust that matchup a little bit more. And when you have a veteran quarterback on LSU's side of the ball who is trying to jumpstart an offense while he's been injured with a dynamic running back that they haven't really leaned into, I trust them to be able to get just enough on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm not expecting this Ole Miss Ole Miss offense to be able to put up, 28 points in the first half. I expect probably some signs of this is a younger team. Now, I understand a lot of people have this trust that Lane Kiffin's going to be able to get out to a fast start. They've played well at home. I get that. But this is more to the credit of my trust with a guy like Blake Baker to be able to halt that momentum a little bit, because he's got the guys he needs on the defensive side of the ball. And I think this is where we begin to see the depth that this LSU defense has because of what they've been able to pull in the transfer portal, because their secondary is going to be able to come up to the task. I think this game's going to be ugly. I understand where the line is. I believe it started out with an LSU favorite, and now it's gone to Ole Miss -1.5, and I completely understand that. By kickoff, it wouldn't shock me if it gets back to a pick'em. But with that in mind, I'm going with LSU to win this football game. I'm trusting Garrett Nussmeier, even with him not being 100%, to find a way to win. If this was the 2024 LSU team, I'm expecting an Ole Miss blowout, but I'm trusting the veteran experience and the need to win. Even though they've been undefeated up to this point, it feels like they still need to prove themselves to the rest of the country. Do I agree that they're a top 4 team in the country? Probably not. But do I think that this LSU program is still incredibly good and talented? Yes, I do. So I'm picking them to win against Ole Miss.